Welcome to Dental Unscripted, where Mike Dinsio and Paula Quinn break down the practice ownership journey, one episode at a time. Starting up, buying, and running a successful dental practice.
Hey.
Hey, welcome back. You tried to beat me on that one. I like that. You're quick off the draw this morning. What is up, Paula? We are getting going again, Dental Unscripted, talking all things startup and, really the opportunity of a startup and the things that are holding you back from doing a startup and being successful at it. So the idea here is like, hey, look, like there's a real opportunity cost in not moving forward with a startup. And so let's get cracking. As always, though, just giving you a quick little housekeeping: follow, subscribe, review. Do it. You're already listening. It's already pulled up in your car or your phone. Would you just please hit the little 5-star or whatever? You don't even have to say anything. We want reviews. It's just what we do,
You can say more Paula, more Paula, please. Whatever.
More Paula. We need more Paula. We're tired of Michael. Absolutely. Whatever you want to say, I don't care. Just say something. We love to hear from you. And we hope that these episodes and these topics are making an impact on your life. First and foremost, we are a dental consulting firm. So if you need some help, reach out. But if you just want to hang out and talk shop, that's what this is for. And it's very unscripted. So thanks for being part of the family. So today we are talking again, why the biggest, what is the biggest cost of waiting and not getting in the game? And it's specific on startups. Okay, guys. So big picture here, big picture, Paula, big picture. I want you guys to have a shift right now, driving to work, heading into the DSO and working for someone else. I want to make an impact. Don't hit that car in front of you as you zero in on what me and Paula are about to talk about. But I do want you like all in, lock in right now, get into ownership.
Just pull over.
Pull over. Yeah. Take notes. Pull over. I love that. Don't be late. Actually, be late. Get fired and start up a practice on your own. That's totally fine.
Michael will support you until you get your startup off the ground.
Yeah, sure. It sounds perfect. Guys, the biggest opportunity cost of you not getting into ownership is truly the extra, the cream off of the top, the cherry. You don't get it as an associate. You go into work, you put in your time, you do the dentistry, you take all of the liability clinically. You deal with the upset front office gal who just had an argument with her husband last night. The dental assistant that didn't show up because she had anxiety. You're dealing with it all. But you're only getting paid 30, maybe 32%. If you're a specialist, 35% of your production. That's all you're getting. But what you're missing is this net worth conversation that we just had on the last call. You're missing the other, let's call it 10 to maybe 20% if you're really, really efficient and work with Paula on how to do all the things inside your practice. You're missing another 20% that could go to your net worth. And it's a real number. And I'd love for Paula to share her story. If you could be vulnerable, I'm literally putting her on the spot. She has no idea where I'm going with this. So for you YouTubers watching her face right now squirm and get a little uncomfortable, if you're not watching while you're driving, okay, log into YouTube and check it out. Paula, what did buying a practice do for you personally, financially?
I mean,
what did it do for you, dude?
Do you want me to get? Do you want me to?
I mean, whatever you're willing to share, man. I mean, it's on you.
Yeah. I mean, what it got me was caught up on things that, I probably should have been doing all along. Um, Failed to do so for lots of sobby story reasons and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, um, I was gonna be 100 dead before I could retire, and now I feel confident. Not that I can quit working tomorrow, but
Yeah, please
I
don't,
feel
Paula.
very confident that I'm on track, maybe even a little ahead, and so I feel good. I feel like that really, and had I kept it longer, I mean, it would have been my entire retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I only had it for about 3 years, a little less. So, but it did catapult me up to where, you know,
Where you
where
should be.
should
Where you
be.
should be.
And I always say this when we help a practice, is, I had to give away 30% of my income from like the get-go.
I was gonna go there. So
Okay.
here.
So,
So here.
anyways, long
Yeah.
story short, I was hurting buying a practice. I bought a practice. I did not do a startup. I'm not a dentist, so I think that would have been really difficult doing a startup, not being a dentist. But I will say that ownership in general
Yeah.
gave me luxuries that I otherwise wouldn't have not had. So,
And uh, yes, to put a crescendo on that, here's Paula running a dental practice and having to write a check 30% of the production of the dentist to a dentist. So she didn't even get to keep that money, which most of you will keep plus get profit. So Paula only benefited from the cream.
and
By the
when I
way,
did,
she also had a loan. So she had a loan. So she had to take the extra, the profit after paying the dentist. Some of you guys are running practices that don't have extra. You're just making 30% as owners. You might as well be an associate. So you're not running your practice effectively. You're not running it with profit in mind and all the things. We can help with that. But once you get your practice, and we just discussed this in the last podcast, once you get your practice to a point where there's extra after paying yourself 30%, Paula had to write a check 30% to a dentist. The extra is where wealth begins. But then Paula had to write a check to the bank after that. So it's even less. And she's sitting here today saying, holy crap, it was the best thing ever. And I will tell you, it wasn't necessarily the month-to-month profit, because I tracked Paula throughout that whole 3-year journey. Sure, she had some pops and that was great. Like, oh my gosh, I had a huge month. Ooh, I get an extra 50 grand or 30 grand or whatever it was. That's awesome. But like, this is the opportunity cost, the whole topic of this particular episode. This is the opportunity. I'm about to talk about it. We talk, dentists talk, business owners talk about your income on a month-to-month basis through payroll. And of course, you want your income to be bigger, of course, as an owner, right? But let's just talk about the equity in the business that you're growing and getting year over year. So what I mean by that is, even if you are only 30% profitable and you pay your figurative self 30% of production and you have no cream, no cherry, no extra, which by the way, call us, because that's not, you need to be doing better. But even if you were bare minimum, not making any more after you pay yourself 30%, you're still paying your loan down every year, which increases your equity in your business, which means that equity is sitting there in a little, what I would call a practice equity fund, like an investment that you get to sell later for hundreds, maybe millions later. And you don't see that in your paycheck, but you get that at the end of this road. And that, my friends, is where the equity and the net worth starts getting fun in your guys' world and in your world. So doing all of the things that owners need to do and struggle and take on risks. As an associate, you're doing it all already. Why not get that pop in the end? Why not? Anything to add to that, Paul? Because really, that pop was the difference maker for you, I think. Am I wrong? I mean, that pop was pretty. That's what catapulted you back to where you needed to be. It wasn't necessarily the month-to-month pay, right?
No, but I will say, you should be able to pay yourself enough month to month, hopefully, that you're paying your bills, you can still do a little extra. Like, you might not be a millionaire, but you're still able to live life at a decent, if not more comfortable level on top of it,
That's right.
I think dentists in general, this might be a little off topic, but I do want to say this is like, you also get to kind of buy your little toys, not big toys, little toys, and the products you want to use and run them through your business. So you also get to, like, have kind of some premium things or some things that you like to utilize when you're in ownership too, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go out and buy it on your own if you're like, oh, okay, I really want this product or what have you.
Totally. So that opportunity cost, it's kind of a fancy word of saying every year you hold back and not make this decision is costing you the dollars that you don't get by being an owner. There's a huge cost that you can't afford not to as a private practice owner. So that is the theme of today's episode. And so so now you guys can start driving. I'm going to get into some more things, but go ahead and pull back onto the road and get to work. I'm glad you locked in on that. Okay. So a couple of things. I got a couple of things where there's throughout the startup process. Now I'm going to get really granular on startup, less about ownership. Throughout the startup process, there's opportunity costs, things that cost you money that are hidden that you don't necessarily see in the moment as you're going through or thinking about a startup. And one of those things is choosing the wrong location costs you big over time. There's books out there, there's podcasts, there's startup coaches, there's all kinds of things that talk about location. And guys, I'm just going to tell you, like right now, all of you are chasing acquisitions because of cash flow. And you're all eliminating the idea of startup because of cash flow. Oh, I don't want to do a startup. I'd like to start somewhere. If you listen, lock in, pull over again. If you choose the right location, you could do $1 million your first year. That's a fact. That's a fact. What everybody does, and I'm sick of hearing it, is I want to do a startup in Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay, that was a genius idea 50 years ago. Whoever did it 50 years ago is a millionaire. You, my friend, are going to be broke. There is so many locations out there that are growing by 10, 15, 20% year over year. And nobody is servicing those areas because they don't want to live in the rural, which considered rural today. In 5 more years, 10 more years, it's going to be like the place. So if you can hold out for 5 years and be in the place, why not do it right now? We have helped, unfortunately, but fortunately, about 5 startups hit $1 million their first year. And the single-handedly reason that they did that was because they were smart enough to pick an area that had literally no dentists and was growing like crazy. And you could do $1 million and have plenty of cash flow with a brand new office, with a team that you love, all the things, location. I don't want to hear from you all Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't want to hear from you Bellevue, Washington. I don't want to hear Sunnyvale, California, right by Facebook anymore. It's tapped out, guys. It's tapped out. So if you want to make bank in year 1 as a startup, the opportunity cost of choosing the wrong location costs you a lot of money and opportunity. I don't know if you have anything to add to that before I go on another rant, Paula, but I'm on a roll today. I'm on a rant.
No, I kind of went on to the next topic. I feel like, no, that's it.
Yeah. My next is marketing.
I was going to say.
You should have followed your gut. And I know you have something to say about this, because when you owned, I was pushing you on this. And you did fine without listening to me. You did quite fine. But the other opportunity cost of not going big on marketing, okay, is a real number. Okay, so what startups are doing that they should not do is, okay, so you decided to go into Scottsdale, Arizona. You didn't listen to that first tip that I just gave you. You decided to set up in an area that has plenty of dentists fighting for the same patients, and you guys are boxing it out. And for some reason, you're all thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do another mailer because they're expensive, and maybe I should go with my buddy and do a website because he's $1,000 cheaper. Okay, so you have to go big or don't do it at all. Otherwise, you're just going to be average. And maybe you're okay with average, by the way. It's okay if you are. It's all about vision and expectations. So I'm all about supporting those that want like a slow ramp up, kind of simple, quality of life kind of conversation. I'm all about that. It's fine. But if you are holding back from a startup because of cash flow, which is the number one reason I hear people don't want to do startup, then I need you to hear this. Go big on marketing. You can't be conservative at the 1 yard line. Like, go big. The average startup spends about 30 grand on marketing. Okay, that might sound like a lot to you, but if I was going to do a startup, I would try to beat, contractors, equipment people, IAT, all the vendors. I would beat the crap out of all the contractors, equipment people, all the vendors, and try to save 100 grand in that process, and literally throw 100 grand in marketing the first year, and then go get the nice finish levels, the cute little tiles and the glass and all the cutesy things you want to do. I get that that's important to you because, you worked at named DSO and it was just an ugly office, and you want to have your beautiful, amazing looking office. But guys, we are now in the world of business, and marketing for startups is everything. It's everything. Paula, what experience did you have when you bought a practice? I think the practice you bought was basically a startup, folks. I mean, it was a startup. So in a lot of ways, Paula did a startup. It's the facts. You bought a practice. You thought you were starting from, you had a jump start. Well, you kind of did, but not that many patients. I want to say 300-400 patients, maybe.
And 0 staff. No team.
0 staff. No team. You did it all. All you had to do is inherit problems and did a startup. You might as well have just did a startup scratch. But when you were like really kicking butt, it was when you went all in on some marketing, wasn't it? Like, it really took off on you, didn't it? And luckily we figured out what worked. But help me understand what the doctors are thinking in that moment when I'm asking them to spend 8 grand and they're a startup and they don't have 8 grand. I'm like, dude, you got to spend money. Help me understand what they're thinking in that moment and why that's probably not the right thinking.
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit, and I get, you get a new startup and you start from scratch. So obviously you want everything nice. It's like buying a home that somebody already lived in versus building one. So when you have a chance to do it from the ground up, you definitely, you're kind of thinking, do it now, do it later. So I like what you said, like you can add later, because one of the first things I wanted to do was change out my chairs. They were disgusting. They were teal and there was some, ribs, and there were the spittoons on them, and, all kinds of things that
Spittoons.
were not attractive. I did take those off. I did take the spit bowls off. But other than that, I left it, and nobody cared.
No one cared.
No one ever walked in,
New patients.
Your chair is already going to be new. You don't have to have a top of the line chair. It's already going to be new. Your tile's already going to be new, so it doesn't have to be the top of the line tile or floor. So I agree with you on budgeting some of that. And if you become a sensation, redoing a floor can be done later. But so I'll say that. Number 2, marketing. It is scary. It's scary because you do feel like you're throwing it to the wind, and it's like, what do I choose, and when do I stop, and how much do I spend? And if, let's say you're saying $3,000 to $5,000 a month, it's like, what could $3,000 to $5,000 a month get me? That could even just pay my income. That could be my money for the month. And so it is a scary situation on what to spend. But I know that's why you get them working capital, and I know that's why you work on budgeting, so that you just know that money is allocated towards something, and it's kind of like the cost of doing business. So I think marketing is scary, but I think not marketing is more scary, because you're just crossing your fingers hoping that the great community that you just built your practice in, somebody's going to show up. But even the docs that market, that's not always a true statement. So you really have to just hit it hard in the beginning, and then back off of things that aren't working, and learn quickly, but stay close to it. So I think you can't afford not to market pretty big, or else you are going to be sitting there.
Yeah, I love that. I think allocate the proper amount of dollars to marketing, go big, go home. One of the other startups, one of the $5 million starts we did was in Colorado, and Paula knows this client very well. And he did not go into an area that was desperate for a dentist. He went right in the middle of a populated area, but he spent $10,000 a month in marketing. Why did he do that? Because the DSO that he worked for did that. And he saw that worked. So he budgeted. And
he had there were times I think he had 120 new patients a month. Yep. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot.
And by the way, most of those were driven by mailers. So all of you that have this idea that mailers don't work, well, call him up, and Paula, your mailers worked really well too. So marketing does work. You don't always have to spend that amount of money year over year over year, but you have to remember the first year you're buying patients. It's a patient acquisition game until you start building a reputation and getting Google reviews, and patients start referring you, and all the things start working for you. But as a startup, you've got none of that activity. So you got to buy exposure. And to buy exposure, you got to throw some big dollars down. So that is a massive opportunity cost.
I just had a startup yesterday that, didn't really want to do the mailers. And what I had said to him, because I've witnessed this, we've had a couple doctors call us a couple of months after opening and say, either I want to do mailers now, but guess what? That takes some time, to design and to get it out and to put it out into the thing. Or they're ready to take Medicaid because there's nothing wrong with Medicaid, but it's well, okay, now that's going to take you 6 months too. So you're not going to get instant patients. So I would rather see you throw it at the beginning, like I said, and then back off than open thinking, well, if this doesn't work, unless you're just happen to be a millionaire and this is your side gig hobby, if you wait too long, it's gonna take a couple of months to ramp up marketing or design all this stuff, and then it's gonna hurt even worse.
Yeah, guys, this shouldn't blow your mind. You're a scratch start business. Nobody freaking knows who you are. Hey, shocker.
But they think, oh, I've been in the community and people know me, or if I put a big sign up, people are going to drive by and come to me, or If I,
I get it. And you're right. They rely.
Yeah, a dozen people maybe.
Yeah, that's the pitfall right there. Okay. Is thinking that one marketing channel is going to be the answer. In marketing school, I actually got educated on this at the Ohio State University, who is currently ranked #1 in the football polls. I'm just going to say, went there for business school, marketing, and the thing I learned was that you have to have a marketing mix, a mix of things that all drive the results that you want. You do got to figure out what works better and what doesn't, and maybe there's a thing that you need to cut and double down on, and there's that. But you gotta mix it up, and you gotta spend big. It shouldn't surprise you. Spend big. But the last thing I'm going to say, we got to move on. Spend big, track more aggressive. Because if you're going to spend big, I don't want you calling me back or calling me in a year saying, you told me to spend big. I spent 60 grand and I've got no new patients. We had a client who was on the verge of bankruptcy in Arizona. He spent $65,000 his first year as a startup, and he was pacing 200 grand for the year. He's pacing that, and he spent 60 grand in marketing. And I'm like, bro, why do you keep putting that much money in shit that's not working? You have to track what works. If it's not working, cut it. So it's not just about throwing it. It's about throwing it, tracking it, recalibrating. But you got to throw it. You got to throw it. And track it. I guess that's just as important as throwing it, as tracking it. All right, I had to make that point. All right, the other opportunity cost is a case-by-case scenario, and it's quitting your job too soon. I don't know what it is about you guys, and I get it, actually. I know what it is. It's you hate working where you work. The whole reason why you got into ownership is because you freaking hate it, and you don't want to work there anymore. I totally get it. But if you hung in there a little bit and made more money as a person, so you're making money from your job, and now you're making money from your new business. And by the way, we help doctors break even between 4 to 6 months. That's our average, between 4 to 6. So you're making money somewhere between 4 to 6 months if you're a next level client. I think statistically speaking, the average is 6 to 8 when I worked at B of A. So we're cutting that break-even point in half. But let's just say you didn't hire B of A, or hire next level, and you break even in 6 to 8. Fine, whatever. So about the break-even point, a lot of people are like, okay, I broke even, I'm going to quit my job. No, dude, keep making that money and throw it into marketing. Why are you leaving dollars on the table? You're just kind of twiddling your thumbs waiting for new patients anyways. So why not be moving your hands and making money on the other days you're not open? Look, starting a business is supposed to be hard. It's gritty. You got to work hard. No, you don't get to go down to 3 days and live the life of luxury. Work 5 days, take the extra 2 days, make money at your associate, even though you hate the jerk boss, but you're using them in that short amount of time. So take that money and throw it in marketing. I don't care if you have to take 100% of that money and put it in marketing. Your business will catapult that much quicker. And then you're going to actually be proud of the income you're making at your startup. So stop. The opportunity cost of quitting your job is exponential if you don't take that extra money and maybe put it into marketing or do something else with it. So, Paula, you coach our clients through that process. Do you hear them saying they want to quit their job? And that's what they say, don't they?
Well, I mean, a lot of the complaint is at the beginning, they're trying to manage a project and work 5 days a week. And it can be very difficult, especially when it gets down toward the end. And then, yeah, it's almost like, if anyone's ever moved, it always reminds me of like when you get a new house, like if you're in an apartment or you're like in a rental, and that day you have to go back and like clean, like still move everything out of the rental, and then you've got to clean the rental. It's like you've got your new baby, you want to just go enjoy it, and it's like dreadful. So I think it's just like, you have a new baby, you have all these things you want to work on, and so you're like, I want to be here all the time. And I get it for sure, but I agree with you. I mean, if I could talk them into working 2 days a week at their practice and 3 an associate job, that would be really nice. But usually the minimum I can get them at their startup is 3. They want at least 3 days at their startup. So I compromise. Had a couple dogs that stuck with 2 at the new one and stayed 3 at the old one, but it's
here's the thing. I bet you their collections were the same. Their collections would have been the same 2 days versus 3 days. So all you're doing, folks, is you're paying people for another day and not losing out on any collection. So
you're not making money at another job. So
that's right.
You're not making any money, and you're paying people, and
that's a double right there. So you're paying too much in wages, collecting the exact same amount, and losing money in a job. I mean, that's a double. And by the way, all that money could have went to marketing. So it's like, again, how to do a startup the right way, quitting your job too soon. Yeah. I will say, and I already kind of touched on this. This was a point, and I already hit it. Construction and equipment cost decisions. Like, again, the trim, the lighting packages, the crown molding, the glass, the round walls, the sexy lighting at the front desk, all the things, it adds up to thousands of dollars. The equipment, let's jump over to equipment, and then I'm going to move on. You don't need a milling machine yet. Back in the old days, guys, it used to be like 12. You would need to mill 12 crowns to break even on a milling machine. Let me put this in perspective, folks. You're going to be seeing somewhere between 3 to 4 patients a day. And that's if you knock it out of the park. If you like crush and get 40 patients a month, brand new, you're seeing about 3 to 4 patients. Average is probably 1 to 2 if you're only getting 20 new patients a month. So, okay, let's back up here. So you're seeing 40, 30, let's just call it 30 patients a month. How many of those folks are going to need crowns? Probably not half. So do you really need a milling machine, right? So guys, think about the decisions you make. You can buy these things super easy. It's easy. I promise you, the same Henry Schein, Patterson, Benco reps that are selling you this machine today will sell it to you later. I promise. And
what would you say, Michael? Because you do this all the time. What would you say when a dog thinks that's like a huge marketing opportunity?
It's not that big of a marketing opportunity for that big of an investment yet. It's just not, guys. I mean, I get it. It is. But guys, on your first house, did you buy a 4,000 square foot house with a pool and all the things on your first house? I know I didn't. I made good money in my first job. I didn't. So you don't start there. That's not the start, guys. You work into this, So like I can get behind a scanner. I can get behind ADEC. I can get behind some of the things, but I can't get behind like the whole, and I'm going to beat Sirona up a little bit. I can't get behind the whole Sirona workflow right now. I just can't. It's a startup, guys. It's a startup, and it's all about ROI. Equipment reps, contractors, do not call me hating me because of this episode. Guys, it's just the facts. My poor startups, they're trying to break even inside 6 to 8 months. They don't need certain things, guys. They just don't. I promise you, they will call you someday to buy that because you did such a good job equipping their first office. But they can't afford it yet. So that's an opportunity cost. The cost of doing that hurts you. the last thing I'm going to say, and Paula, you did touch on that last point of not flipping your chairs quick and really not being okay with the equipment that you acquired, but you made the right decisions. You put some money into the bathroom and you put some money at the front. And that's a very wise decision. You were super conservative about it. And it was the best decision, I think, for you in the end. And so anyway, but you did invest into, I think, an iTero or a scanner of some sort. Doesn't have to be an iTero. So you could throw some ortho. And that paid itself off super quick. So love those decisions, learn from Paula, and really think that through. The last thing, and this goes for all owners, is start investing sooner. This is my last opportunity cost, because let's say that you're like 32 years old when you get into ownership, maybe 35. Dude, you have like 15 years of compounding interest. And the opportunity cost is massive by waiting to feel good about paying yourself first. I would literally build in a cost center for investing before you actually take money home, before you quit your job. Follow me on this. If all you did was had the self-discipline to send $1,000 to your retirement every month, if you can afford it, before paying yourself. So like I said, break even is month 4 to 6 with Next Level. Okay, now we broke even. Now the next $1,000 goes to retirement before I take any more money. So build in the investment expense first before you take home, and get into that pattern at age 35. And you will be $1 million over, 2-3 times over by that stupid little $1,000 a month. Then it goes to $2,000 and $3,000, and then it starts getting crazy. I will tell you, that grows so much faster than trying to put, 18 grand in at the end of your career, trying to catch up. My dad, I'll share a story. My dad he was an entrepreneur. This is a true story on Paul. I don't think you know this story. Good old Bill Dinsio, we should have him on the program sometime, would tell you this story. If he had his teeth in, he lost all his teeth, guys. A terrible, terrible story there too. He didn't take care of his teeth, and he didn't take care of his investments. So he didn't put a dime into his retirement. And he was an entrepreneur from the day I came into this world to today, an entrepreneur. He didn't put a dime into his retirement all the way through. And by the time he was like 55, or something like that, he qualified to be able to put a lot more in his retirement, because at some age it's called the catch up. So if you're behind, you get to put a lot more than everybody else. So his last 5 years working for someone, because someone bought his company, he literally put 90% of his paycheck in retirement. He was working kind of for free just to kind of catch up. And it still wasn't that much. If he had started what I told you, $500, $200 a month, I don't care what that number is, it would have been crazy big by the time you retire. And that's how it works. It's called compounding interest. Look it up. The lenders do it to you on your loan. Why don't you do it to yourself in investments? The opportunity cost of not doing that is millions and millions. So have some self-discipline before you quit that job, put that money in. Paula, anything to add on investing and doing that? I just, that's my final point on
I think
ownership. Pretty passionate about these topics today. I can't wait to send this podcast to 70% of our clients right now. Yeah, guys, get in the game, pick the location, spend more money in marketing. don't quit your job too soon. Be disciplined about the construction equipment process so that you can put money into the right places, and just start investing so much sooner than what you think you should. And all of those things, we're talking 2, 3, maybe even $4 million net worth by the time you retire. It's almost a guarantee. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Paula, thank you for letting me go crazy on this episode. Yeah. And guys, reach out. Next Level loves doing what we do. We help with startups, of course, acquisitions, practice management, billing. We are a remote billing company. And lastly, we would love to help negotiate your fees for credentialing. Those are the 5 core functions of our company, and we do them really well. Paul and I own the company, and we're proud of our employees and our clients, and we'd love to take you on. So reach out, and we will talk soon.
All right. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening. Let us know how you like the show. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe and follow for more.